The 40-hour-week job was designed to protect factory workers from being overworked. Now, a 40-hour-week job is essentially a part-time job. At what point do we realize that the antidote is actually what's poisoning us? Our jobs are meant to be a cure for our financial struggles. And instead, now, our jobs are killing us. There may have been a time where being a productive and contributing member of society really meant something. But now I think it's time for us to pause and ask ourselves, at what cost? At what point do we realize that our health is deteriorating day by day as we clock in to make what is essentially a survival wage for companies that continuously make record profits? Will they tell you they care? Yes, of course. There was some money left in the budget at the end of the year, so guess what? It's time for a pizza party. But now as you clock in day after day, you begin to realize that that young, healthy glow that you used to have is going away. That passion, that love for life that you used to have, that used to fill you up with excitement for the day, has been replaced by a growing sense of dread and self-loathing, and the walls of age are beginning to close in on you as year after year go by in the exact same dead-end job. It's fine. The quarterly reports look good. Swallow that deep feeling of disgust and go back to your one bedroom that you can hardly afford after a 45-minute commute. It's fine. Everything's fine. And maybe you should talk to someone, although you can't get therapy because that's not covered by your insurance. No one cares, and that's the point, and neither should we. For the first time in American life, young people won't live as long as their grandparents, and it's not the food that's causing that. It's our jobs. Our jobs are killing us. A 40-hour-a-week job now feels like a dream. And although that may have been a full-time job at one point, now it's only meant to keep you from being homeless. And everyone says work more. You just need to work more. When I was young, 40 hours sounded like a lot. Now 40 hours just sounds great. I'd take a 40-hour job. But the answer is not to work more. That's not the answer. That's simply the only choice that we've been presented. We can't allow ourselves to break our bodies for a profit that we will never see. We can't allow shame and pressure from society to continuously push our hours to the point where it would make more sense for you to either leave your apartment or sell your apartment, sell your house, and just move closer. Just to live in your car outside the office, just so you can get told that you're doing a better job. You have a life, take it back. Because at this point, if you aren't radical, you are complicit. It's complicity that brought us here. And it's that same passive and neutered mindset that'll see us continue the exact same direction and see you and everyone else suffer in the same way. We have to change that direction. We have to change our heading. You have to redirect the momentum of your life and change it before that momentum runs you off of a cliff. We have to refuse to believe that hope is lost, not in us, not in you. Most of us have already lost hope in the system, and I only believe that that is the only healthy response to living in a system that has essentially used up your life and has just kind of thrown you out into the wind, has thrown you into the gutter and left you to die. This discontentment is the manifestation of generations of broken promises, and that debt is due to be paid. There's no right, there's no left, your tribes are false, and their projected sentiments are fickle. You have to live your life. My friend, you have to live your life. Have the life that you want, and damn the haters. We can't dedicate our lives to the things that are hurting us. Our jobs are killing us. I've had a lot of people ask me how they can kind of change things in their life, and all I can say is it's going to take extreme individual action, a kind of radical independence like those before us used to have. But what I can say is relying in the system in the configuration that it's in now is going to do no help to anybody. These jobs aren't meant to put you forward and ahead in life. That's just not the way that it's built anymore. You have to take control. You have to find a way no matter what it is, even if it's moving to another country. If you've enjoyed my content before, you're going to know that being a digital nomad, living in another country is, to me, the best way of life as it is right now. Is there cheaper ways to live in America? Are there cheaper places to live in America? Are there sweet spots that you can still attain that golden mean? Absolutely, but they're very hard to find. And one of the dangers is when people actually find these places and move there, then the same thing happens that happens everywhere else, where local prices become inflated and they outpace the cost of living. But the reality is our society doesn't think as a collective, it thinks as a large group of individuals. So the fact is right now, everyone kind of has to get what they can. Until things change, if they change, you have to kind of get what you can and make your situation the best that it's going to be. But I will say that slaving for the same corporation that has never really improved your life, maybe gives you a pat on the back, maybe says, hey, good job there. Maybe even gives you a small raise every now and then that still doesn't meet inflation. That's not the way to live now. That era is over, and we know it's over because we're seeing the kind of change in our hours. And that change isn't going to stop. The hours will continue to get longer and the pay won't increase. And even if the pay increases, at the same time, our government will print more and more money and create new government policies that are going to make things even more expensive. If you think that the asset class is going to take a big hit, if you think that houses are just going to crash in price, this is hopeful thinking. And while I do like to hold on to hope, I also have to match that with reality. And the people who are in charge in our country are all invested in real estate. Buying homes isn't a reality for us, not the way that jobs pay now. So I have serious doubts that there's going to be some new policy that comes in that cuts the price of housing by half, because there's no incentive for those at the top to actually have that. There is incentive to keep you in a state of hope that will keep you to continue to vote every 4 years for the same people who claim that they're on two different sides, but all go to the same dinner parties, all go to the same schools, all have the same friend groups, and the people who contribute to their campaigns are the same people. But this is the difficult thing. It's difficult to look at the system and say that we are truly being used, and there's no way to actually change it, because we've enjoyed the illusion of change from the safety of our lives. But due to desperation and necessity, that illusion is starting to fade away, and the harsh reality is setting in. But how long can we do? How long can you do this? Because I'm feeling it. Now, I work 60 to 80 hours a week. I do this out of necessity. I do this as a choice. To come back to America and start working like this was a choice. And it's something temporary. Thank God. Because in the end, more than likely, I will take my family out of the US because I don't see things getting better. And at this point right now, self-preservation is really the only strategy that we have left to us. Like I said, we have to realize that the choices that have been presented to us are not our only choices. They're just the ones that we've seen. Look around and do your research. There is a way out for the vast majority of people. Not for everyone, but if you wanted enough, if you want enough change in your life, you can have that. If you don't want to work the job like you're working now, if you want to work less hours, if you want to make more money, you can do that, but you have to find a way. Maybe it's multiple streams of income. And while that does sound scary, and that does sound a bit like YouTube culty, it's really not. I've done that. And that's how I know that in the near future, my family will be able to just kind of go do what they want in another country. Because do I need $100,000, $150,000 in America to live? Yeah. To have a family? Yeah, I do. Everyone does. Unless you live in the middle of nowhere where there's nothing to do, there's no jobs really, you're going to have relative comfort there, yes, but at the same time, your ability to save and plan for the future is really only going to hurt you in the long run. Because you may say, well, I can save $500 a month. I can save $1,000 a month. That $500 and $1,000 10, 20 years from now isn't really going to mean anything. Look at all the retired people now who've been retired for 10, 15 years at the golden age of their life, but they've realized that because of inflation, because the cost of living is outpacing their 401k, outpacing their pension, that they're going to have to go back to work at 70 years old. At 70 years old, at 75 years old, it's a normal thing now that people are coming out of retirement. Nobody wants the retirement plan that they're going to work until they die. But this is becoming the reality in our country. This is becoming the reality all over the world. This isn't just an American thing. What I've been learning from the comments is, honestly, this is just a global thing at this point. And a lot of people say neoliberalism, a lot of people say capitalism, a lot of people will say, it's globalism. And yeah, it's a lot of these things. Why not? But don't let the theoretical constructs and definitions obscure from what it actually is. Just greed. It's simply greed and opportunism by those at the highest echelons of society. And that's what it's been for thousands of years. And that's why it's important for people to take control of their lives. That's why it's important for us not to just hate each other and go at each other. It's important for us to have community, to look out after each other, because we're the only ones that can have each other's back. Voting for your side and thinking that somehow someone up on top of the mountain is going to look down and see you, enlist you as a beneficiary in their great policies, doesn't make sense. It's a kind of delusion that's hard to explain, because it's something that comes out of movies, essentially, not out of reality. You are not seen. Even if the wording in their speeches make you think that they're talking to you directly, they're not talking to you. You have to look out for yourself. You have to look out for those next to you, because the time of national identity in America is over. There is no solidarity like there actually needs to be to have change. There is only resentment, hostility, and paranoia. And as long as you exist and stay within the exact same margins that have been prescribed to you to live your life, even though the same promises that were made at the beginning of that journey have been neglected or dismissed or just abjectly denied, you have to find a way out. We have to find a way out. If change isn't apparent, if change doesn't look like it's coming down the road, then we can't meet the fate that's being put in front of us. We can't look at that option and say that this is our only option. There's a whole world out there. Just look at the comments in some of the videos. People from Sweden, people from Eastern Europe, people from Africa, people from Asia, all over the world, in places that we've been taught and we've been told are places that you don't want to live, are places that are socialist or communist, are places that are just poor and dangerous. That's not actually how it is. There's enough content out there where you can take a look at the vast majority of these countries and the people who live there, the expats that have moved there, the digital nomads, the people who've immigrated from the West to these countries will be the first to tell you that they will never go back to live in the States unless they have to. And that's not a bad thing, because if we're pushed to self-preservation, then thinking in a way that preserves yourself, you can't feel guilty about that. You have to seek out the change that you can reach within your own life. And you'll never get that. You'll never have that if you exist, if you continue to participate within the job market now the way that it is. If you can even get a job. If there are jobs out there for you. Because the days of walking up to a job, just making strong eye contact, giving a nice firm handshake and be like, hey, this job's for me. I'm the guy you want. That's really over. People apply hundreds of times. Some people apply thousands of times to get a job. This is the average job now. It takes 6 months to a year to get. And because it takes so long for people to get a job, if they were able to save, now they have to eat into their savings. So if someone loses their job, all those years that they spent saving, maybe for retirement, maybe for a move, all that's going to be gone now because they have to survive to the next employment. That's going to pay them a survival wage. Get away from it. Take your life back. Take your life back because you have one. And the hope can't be in your job anymore. The hope can't be in the job. The hope can't be in the future that your jobs can provide for you. The only hope that you can have now is the hope in yourself. The hope that you can create the change that you want. The hope that you can redirect and change the momentum of your life to give you a kind of opportunity that you didn't see before because you weren't looking. Just look harder. Find a way. Start small. Scale and grow. It's possible. I'm an idiot. Even I'm finding a way slowly. So stop falling for it and find your way out, because that's what we all need to do. Have a good one.